From medieval fortress to Elizabethan palace, on the History Roadshow, we visit Kenilworth Castle. Kenilworth Castle is located in the town of Kenilworth in Warwickshire. Constructed from Norman through to Tudor times, the building has seen Edward II, its captive, John of Gaunt and Robert Dudley, its masters, and Queen Elizabeth I, its honoured guest. Come with us now on a journey to discover the trials and tribulations of one of Britain's greatest medieval castles. One of the main buildings still standing is Leicester's Gatehouse. Now, this was built on the northern side and replaced an older gatehouse. The external design has towers which were originally battlements, and this gives an air of a style which was more popular more than a century earlier. The alabaster fireplace was once part of Queen Elizabeth's private rooms. The gatehouse was built around the 1570s and transformed into a private home after 1650. Today we can take a step back in time to see the contemporary wood panelling and ornate carved furniture, which would have been particularly prominent throughout the Elizabethan era. Now you can walk through this stunning building as it was left by the last caretaker who departed Kenilworth in the 1930s. The castle was built over several hundred years, initially as a Norman tower around 1120. It was significantly enlarged by King John at the start of the 13th century, and Kenilworth has played a major role in English history, which included the longest siege in medieval times. It also formed a base for Lancastrian operations throughout the Wars of the Roses. Within Kenilworth Inner Court, there are a number of buildings. The most impressive has to be the 12th century Great Tower, originally of Norman origin. This building exploits its defensive capabilities by being set on high ground, and even after the tower was slighted, it still has its notable corner turrets and walls, which in places are 16 feet wide. The tower itself goes up 98 feet, making this a formidable part of the castle. The Great Hall was built by the 14th century nobleman John of Gaunt, sometime between 1372 and 1380. This part of the castle has seen previous halls built, but Gaunt went one stage further in creating what would have been a masterpiece of engineering and design, on a scale not seen before, with a quality and workmanship like no other. It was influenced by Edward III's design at Windsor Castle, with lavish interiors and resplendent exteriors, which gave the building a richness fit for any royal visitor. Built alongside the Great Tower, Gaunt included a massive kitchen area. This replaced the original 12th century kitchens. The new one was twice the size of others in equivalent castles of the period, with a length of 62 feet and a width 26 feet. This was cooking on a whole new level. Today we can see the remains of the bread ovens, and just to the side is where once a cauldron would have bubbled away, possibly for cooking meat. In 1235, Henry III gave Kenilworth to his sister and her husband, Simon de Montfort. He was the 6th Earl of Leicester. He was also a nobleman of French origin and a member of the English peerage, but was also the instigator and baronial opposition to the rule of King Henry III. This all culminated in the Second Barons' War. At Evesham on the 4th of August 1265, de Montfort entered the battlefield one last time. He was completely outnumbered, but led his forces in one last desperate bid to end the saga. Up against him was Prince Edward, the son of Henry III, who would later go on to be King Edward I. The scene was set and described by one chronicler as the murder of Evesham. For battle, it was none. During the battle, a 12-man squad of Edward's men had stalked the battlefield independent of Edward's main army, their sole aim to find the Earl and cut him down. Montfort was eventually hemmed in. Roger Mortimer, who was a strong ally of Henry III, is said to be the one who delivered the final blow. Simon de Montfort's body was then mutilated in a frenzy by the royal soldiers. Kenilworth was given to Robert, Earl of Leicester, in 1563, an English statesman and a favourite of Elizabeth. He was also a suitor for the Queen's hand over many years. He was so keen to impress the Queen, he arranged one final attempt to woo her in 1575. It is said Elizabeth brought an entourage of 31 barons and 400 staff for the visit. She stayed for 19 days, and the event was considered a huge success. But even then, the Queen decided not to marry Leicester. The gardens today at Kenilworth offer a glimpse of what they would have looked like in the 16th century. In Elizabethan times, plants were not considered to be the main purpose of beauty. A design incorporating sculptures was the preferred decoration, with obelisks and a statue of Greek mythological figures to create the focus. That aside, there was also a pleasant and ornate bird aviary. This has to be one of Britain's most prominent places to visit. Its 900-year history tells the story of war, peace, love and heartbreak. A piece of pure theatre from the early days of Norman settlement to the medieval times and stately royal visits. This outstanding piece of architecture remains, and with its beauty, as a strikingly lavish and highly significant part of English heritage. So for a remarkable journey through time, take a visit to Kenilworth Castle.